Come on over to their tank. Not merely because of his impending bout with Lamont Roach, Davis is once again in the public eye. Tank displayed his trademark speed, explosive power, and razor-sharp reflexes, which have made him one of the most feared fighters in the game. As expected, fans are raving about the undefeated knockout artist's latest training video, but this time, the conversation isn't limited to fans. Former Tank opponent and WBA super lightweight champion Rolando Romero has a lot to say about the encounter.
You see who it is? Hey, who is the dude? Who is the dude?
Not even able to identify who it is. Hey, who is this guy? Romero sat down with Fight Hype to discuss his thoughts, and if you know him well, you know that he doesn't hold back. He feels that Tank has everything going for him going into this fight, and in his opinion, it's not even a fair matchup. However, Lamont Roach is moving up in weight, which isn't good, and you're up against a vicious puncher, but that doesn't take away from the fact that Roach is an amazing fighter. As I mentioned earlier, you're up against one of the sport's hardest hitters. When asked if he has any chance of pulling off an upset, Lamont Roach, a talented and technical fighter, is stepping into dangerous territory against Tank, a man known for his brutal knockouts. Gaining weight is more than just gaining a few pounds. It changes everything. Fighters who move up in weight frequently struggle with power, speed, and endurance against opponents who are naturally bigger. Raleigh didn't sugarcoat his response, saying that everything is in Tank's favor. Well, maybe this person is a better boxer, but he's not a better boxer than Tank. He's not a bigger puncher. He's not bigger than Tank, and he's moving up in weight, so that might affect him. Tank has a fantastic IQ and better legs, so you can't claim any of this stuff. Make him a little slower. Raleigh's collapse brings the fight's reality to light. Even if Roach is skilled, it's difficult to discover a situation in which he excels. Tank the power, Tank prevails. Speed, Tank triumphs. Fight IQ, Tank wins. Footwork, Tank wins. Tank having an off night is the only way for Roach to have a chance, and even then, he would require more than simply good fortune.
There's no way whatsoever?
No, just too much experience, too much power, too much big weight. Everything is in Tank's favor.
Everything? Wow.
Yeah, because,
Just no way whatsoever. Just too much experience, too much power, too much wide big way. Everything is in Tank's favor. Bro Tank's most recent training video only confirmed what Raleigh had said. He looked dangerous, fast, and sharp, with precise footwork, sharp combinations, and powerful shots. Although Tank had trained before, this video had a different vibe, as if he was locked in and ready to make a statement. Many fighters post training clips, but when Tank does it, people pay attention.
No one's been able to solve Tank Davis. What do you need to do together with you and your team and obviously your son to score that victory?
We got a game plan. We're going to execute it, and we're going to get the results.
Move that head, bob and weave.
His speed was blinding. His movement was effortless. And the way he slipped punches and countered with devastating power made it clear that Roach is in for the hardest fight of his life. Nobody has been able to figure out Tank. What must you and your team do, Davis, along with your kid, of course, to win that game? We don't. We have a strategy and we're going to follow it. We're going to get the head-bobbing move. Even though Roach is not a pushover, he is in an almost impossible situation. The jumping weight is difficult enough, but it becomes 10 times more difficult when facing a puncher like Tank, in contrast to Raleigh, who had his own strength when he faced Tank.
You know what I'm saying? They're about to put him with a guy at 130 pounds. Whether he's a champion or not, you're getting a guy lighter than you to come up in weight to make you look good again.
Roach's lack of knockout ability could be a serious issue. It's going to be a long and painful night for Tank if Roach can't hurt him or make him respect his power. Tank is accustomed to opponents who try to outbox him. He's faced slick fighters before, and it hasn't worked out well for them. The moment he determines their timing, he walks them down and lands a shot that ends the night. You understand what I mean when I say that they're going to pair him with a man who weighs 130 pounds. Regardless of whether he is a champion or not.
Lamont Roach. Is that the right opponent for Tank?
I don't know why everybody is kind of sleeping on Lamont, but he has a decorated amateur career too. He's a very steady kid. He's very skilled. Tank is Tank. You know, and when I say Tank is Tank, I mean like he's a bad man. He can fight. He's tough. I know we had our dispute back and forth, whatever, but at the end of the day, if we talk about just boxing, he's a good fighter. And
you will be waiting for a man who is lighter than you to come up and make you seem good again. Raleigh brought up one factor that might work in Roach's favor. Tank having a bad night. While this is uncommon, it is not impossible for any fighter, no matter how good, to have a bad night. Perhaps Tank underestimates Roach, or perhaps he isn't as focused as he should be, or perhaps he makes a mistake early on that gives Roach confidence. Because boxing is unpredictable, surprising things can happen. Having a poor night while still betting on Tank isn't exactly a good strategy. Tank has the kind of ability to turn a fight around in a matter of seconds. And even when he isn't playing at his best, he manages to win. Lamont and Tank, when it comes to tanks, Roach is the ideal opponent. I don't know why everyone seems to be sleeping on the mother, but he has a successful amateur career as well. He's a very tough kid, and when I say Tank is Tank, I mean that he's a bad guy who can fight. I know we've had arguments back and forth, but at the end of the day, we talk about just boxing a good fighter. And even if Crochet starts off well, one mistake could be the end for someone who has shared the ring with Tank. Raleigh speaks with first-hand knowledge of the dangers of tanks, and he doesn't believe that Roaches have any genuine chance. Even though I lost to Tank, I had the kind of power to at least make things interesting, so you can't compare my fight to Trance with Roaches since I'm another puncher. Roaches lack the capacity to harm tanks, and if you are unable to do so, you are in serious trouble. When Paulie Mogi took fire at Gervonta Davis, accusing him of undermining the sport in order to enrich himself, he didn't hold back either. Malik, after avoiding the toughest names in the division, Nagy feels that Tank is being paid without having proven himself against opponents worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. Now, he is considering retiring.
And I mean, it's going to go, Tank going to be losing the first 3 rounds, then he's going to download the data, then he going to knock this dude out in round 7 or 8, then he going to do the backflip, then Jim Gray's going to get in the ring, or Caleb Plant's wife, and say, who do you want next? And Tank's going to say, I want all those guys. And they're going to go to the press conference, and Elliot Setback's going to say, who do you want next? He said,
Tank has established a record that is impressive on paper, but lacks real substance, Nagy noted. He listed Tank's greatest victories: Ryan Garcia with restrictions on Wade Martin, Frank Pedraza, Jose when asked whether any of them had really put him to the test at an elite level, former fighter-turned-commentator Isaac Cruz, Raleigh Romero, and Leo Santa Cruz didn't hold back when he claimed that Tank handlers are profiting from keeping him out of risky battles, according to Malaga. Nagy argues that if a fighter is genuinely exceptional, there's no need to create a star.
I say 9th round.
What?
I say 9th round.
You said 9th?
Yeah.
What's your response to that, Lamont?
Look, he got scared. Look. He looked at night.
I'm telling him, you saying you going down in a night?
He also criticizes the choice to pit Lamont Roach against Tank, saying that Roach's weight increase to take on a well-known pay-per-view attraction is merely another instance of bad matchmaking. According to him, Tank has a history of engaging in bouts that appear competitive at first glance, but are ultimately predictable. Paulie also questioned Tank's abrupt retirement announcement, stating that it is a logical given that he hasn't faced any actual threats. Tank's retirement speech is more about avoiding the dangerous and hungry names.
Tank Davis has been avoiding, in my opinion, the big fights. Lomachenko, Pitbull Cruz, Shakar Stevenson, Devin Haney was there. Defima was there at one point. He finally fought Ryan, but Ryan, he was drained, and we saw how Ryan looked at.
That are currently circling him, then it is about being content with his career. Tank will lose the first 3 rounds, then he will download the data, Knock this guy out in round 7 or 8, and then he will do the backflip. Jim Gray or Caleb Plant Hawaii will then enter the ring and ask, "Who do you want next?" Tank will respond, "I want all those guys," and they will attend the press conference. If Setbacks ask,
"Go against the big dog. Stop playing all this bullshit, acting like you that dude. You that money dude for sure. But when it comes to like straight balls, you know what I'm saying? You got one dude that ran around in the ring the whole 12 rounds. You got another dude that run around all year from the hardest fucking fights. The ones that people want to see, they got."
"Who do you want next?" Tank will respond, "I want fighters such as Shakur Stevenson and Andy Cruz as the WBA 135-pound champion." Tank cannot ignore Raymond Morales Davis and Edwin Deos Santos indefinitely. According to Mogi, Tank is aware of the difficulties that lie ahead and is thinking about taking the easy route before being put in a difficult fight. The criticism continued after that. Malik, while acknowledging that Tank's power is impressive, Nagy suggested that he would have been undefeated.
Has there been any talks with Tank's team?
They reached out, but we told them to come back with an offer. And as far as that, we ain't heard nothing since then. Me and him fighting each other, we'll seal the deal on the kings of that division, the kings of...
If he had faced the same opponents as Tank. He also questioned why fans haven't seen Tank face a truly elite opponent, accusing Tank of carefully selecting his opponents and calling him a coward for never putting himself to the test against a truly great fighter. This isn't the first time Mogi Nagy has criticized Tank's career, but his remarks are more impactful now that the boxing community is beginning to pose the same queries. I say in round, and you respond, nineth round. Okay, so what's your reaction to that Lamont look? He looked scared. Boxing fans were agitated by Mogi's remarks, and some of them agreed with him. They pointed out that fighters like Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney have taken on riskier fights